one of the biggest issues that Juri players have is habit. What do I mean by this? When you come down like this, you go for your standing medium punch. After the standing medium punch, either a crouching medium punch follows or a standing light kick follows into a store. There's always that sort of samey aspect to your gameplay. Instead of committing to this option every time, after the standing medium punch, why don't we be a little bit more proactive and then go for a throw? But an option that we can use is that if he keeps trying to walk back, we can low forward him. So these are the types of things that I want you to keep going through your mind. Watch your opponent's legs, because if your opponent continuously shows that they're willing to walk back on a situation, then you can just blow up their legs. Why not? Beat fellas, I am here to help. Okay, so we're in Masters, we can critique a little bit harder. Yes, let's talk about this situation here. So you get your hit, which is very good. But the one thing I want you to note, right, is the fact that you're using your legs to walk back here. Now, normally this is not necessarily all that much of an issue, but you need to make sure that you're spending a little bit of time crouch blocking. The reason why is because some of your opponents, right, they're going to be bolder, they're going to be wiser. So when they find themselves in this situation, they're going to go for an option where they're going to think that, okay, you're going to try and walk back, and then they're going to go for an option like that. And then you get put into a safe jump situation and then guess. You know what I mean? So these are the types of things you want to keep in mind. So instead of going for this option, which will get you blown up, instead, what we'll do is that we'll walk back and then crouch block. That way, if they happen to go for an option, then you'll be able to block right afterwards. But if you just keep walking back the way you did, then you'll get caught by his crouch strong or low forwards, crouching medium kicks, or crouching medium punch in Ed's case. You'll just get caught if you just walk back continuously like this. Okay, so while you walked back here, right, there was a situation here, you got your hit, unfortunately it burnt you out. When he went for it, you couldn't do all too much damage off of it. I understand, this is cool, I understand. Okay, off of this instance, you're afraid of another EXDP or whatever have you, right? We enact the idea where we walk back in crouch block, but after this, you walk back into crouching medium kick. Now the reason why there's a certain level of risk, obviously I know that you wanted to go for a crouching medium kick into a store, just to, you know, keep things safe while simultaneously getting some value off of it. Obviously this was your goal. In these instances, it'll prove to be a little bit better if either A, off of this instance, we choose a larger button to check with, or if we go for an option like simply just disengaging from the incident and just holding this space. Now he might want to try and drive rush at you, in which we'll try and check him, but those are the options generally you want to go for just to kind of check him, right? That way, while you're walking back, we are still within range of our standing heavy punch and we can check him, right? At the very least, we're doing that much, right? And it gives us enough time to, a little bit more time on the clock when it comes to surviving burnout. Now he'll want to try and drive rush at us, and that's when we'll want to try and check them this way. Another option is that you can simply just walk back, look for an option to whip punish, and then we can whip punish it, right? For walking back, I'd say just walk back as a whole, and then if you see something, right, we can go ahead and try and whip punish it into something of value. Instead, we just hold this space, right? And then we can go for an option. He might go for a forward heavy punch and put you in a string that way. But at the very least, we're trying something, and we're trying to play the neutral a little bit better, because if we try to do a walk back into crashing medium kick while he's still walking back, we're putting ourselves at a risk. So if you clicked on this video, I'm sure you need some help. Lord knows I did at some point. But here's the thing, you want your favorite content creators to come and help you, but let's be real, they're charging like $60 per hour. You don't need that. But when I got you,
I got you good. Over on this channel, I do free coaching sessions on Tuesdays and on Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. EST. So what does that look like? I essentially go over your matches. I give you tools so that you can succeed the next time you open up rank. So once again, join my Discord. Wait till I'm live either on Tuesdays or on Thursdays 6:30 p.m. EST. Be there or be square. Back to the video.
One of the biggest issues that Juri players have is habit. What do I mean by this? When you come down like this, you go for your standing medium punch. After the standing medium punch, either a crouching medium punch follows or a standing light kick follows into a store. Okay? There's always that sort of samey aspect to your gameplay, and when this starts to happen, you start to unfortunately put yourself in a situation that's less than optimal for you, because now you have to take whatever mix that comes your way after. Instead of committing to this option every time after the standing medium punch, why don't we be a little bit more proactive and then go for a throw, right? Here he's walking back, so we can't throw him. But an option that we can use is that if he keeps trying to walk back, we can low forward him. So these are the types of things that I want you to keep going through your mind. Watch your opponent's legs, because if your opponent continuously shows that they're willing to walk back on a situation, then you can just blow up their legs. Why not? Right? Make sure that you're punishing bad decision making every time. Okay, good. I was just about to start mentioning this because this is one of the options that your character has that is very annoying to stop. And that is raw drive rush. Ladies and gentlemen, Juri players all around the world, I need you guys to raw drive rush sometimes. Why? Because it makes it very hard to interrupt your flow when you're going at them. Yeah, they can try and check you for sure, but let's say you go for a drive rush standing medium kick. Off of that check situation, they're gonna get counter hit a lot of the time than not, right? And in those cases, then you can get some value off of it. One thing that I'd like to note is that if you do drive rush standing medium kick, you are technically not plus, you are 0, which means that if you both press a 4 frame after that, you will trade, and that situation's kind of dead. So sometimes it'll be better for you to go to for standing medium kick in the situation where you'll be 0 technically, but the value you get off of it is to be able to stop most of the buttons in this game. Now, if you go for the standing medium punch, it'll give you better frame data, in which we can try and either A, take advantage of the fact that our opponent likes to walk back, or B, just go for a throw if they're going to just hold their position and down back the entire time. These are the types of things that I want you to start circulating. Even if you're not a Juri player, you need to be thinking about how your opponent responds to certain things. Let's talk about this next instance here, right? You get standing medium punch, look at his legs, okay? Number one, he stops blocking his legs, he goes for a tech situation, okay? Immediately afterwards, plus not watching legs. See what I'm saying? This is why watching what your opponent does is so important. Not watching his legs again. And I'm wondering when we're gonna go for the throw option. Okay, so this is gonna be one of Ed's most annoying tools, and you're just unfortunately going to have something prepared for it, right? Sometimes, because it does in fact have a hurt box when he goes for this option, what you can do is commit to your option like a crouching heavy punch, and you might actually catch them while they're falling down with that normal, right? So sometimes even just committing to that option is just like the better of the two options. Now, once you get a little bit higher, you get a little bit more comfortable, you can go for an option that where you can punish them and then put them in a cycle of blending. So let's say here he tries to go for an EX, right? Even if he goes for it, he can't check the low fireball, right? The low fireball he kind of has to respect. So in this matchup, I want you to be using your low fireball a little bit more. The reason being is because that is going to be your way to kind of push them towards the corner. Now, there are one of two options they can choose here. They can either try to parry it, in which when they go for parry, now they have to interact with you afterwards, or they can just try and disengage from the situation entirely. But either way, now it's a little bit more in your hands. Now, if you don't happen to have a charge where you can go for this option immediately, I would suggest using the EX one. Not only does it go further, but you can also take it. It comes out fast and doesn't require any stock. So using the EX to kind of walk in on your opponent is going to be a good option to take space. Now he does have light flicker and a bunch of flickers, right? In those instances, you should be trying ideally to try and perfect parry them, right? After the perfect parry, we're going to try tap parry into dash. If you do get the full dash, then what happens is that you'll be immediately able to act right out of it. When you're immediately able to act right out of it, you're able to rush them down like you wanted to, instead of taking these risks and jumping at your opponent, especially when you're in front of him. The hitbox on it is kind of insane on this DP. So trying to circumvent it is very difficult, so I wouldn't even suggest it. So while this fireball is moving in on your opponent, you will walk behind it. If your opponent then in turn tries to throw out any sort of like flickers that go this short, or any sort of option like his fireball, which obviously go full screen, these are the things that we're going to be trying to perfect parry. If we're successful on the perfect parry, then we can now use our option to dash in, get our party started, and then at least make him guess. But the mindset that you have to go into this is that, number one, his options are going to be a lot more harder to deal with. So in these cases, we want to be perfect parrying. We want to be using our fireball to take space from him, instead of automatically committing to an option like jump all the time, because we're seeing a lot of jump dive kicks to try and catch him off guard, but it's really not working out for us. The last thing I'll say here is that off of this instance here, you got knocked down. It's a scramble type situation, so I understand there's a certain level of being flustered here. With that being said, we want to survey the board, okay? How much resource do we got left, okay? Will a throw kill you? No. Will a punish counter throw kill you? Yes. So meaning that we probably don't want to risk it on a parry situation. Off of this instance, instead of thinking about how am I going to get out of this pressure, just think about if he decides to try and bait me, right? And in this case, he did indeed try to bait you. In this case, I'm going to choose an option that is going to beat him trying to walk back. Now I'm in a situation where I've knocked him down, right? Because obviously he's very clearly trying to bait out my option. Now we can enforce a game, start pushing him towards the corner, use our fireball to enact this, use perfect parry to get in those spaces. We're not using nearly enough drive rush in order to get into the spaces we want. We're just trying to do this all the time, and it's netting us very little value. Almost none at all, if we're being honest. And this is why you're struggling, because we're not using this option nearly enough, right? And we're not using our fireball option. Now, once again, I will mention that he does have access to forward heavy punch, which does get over your fireball. However, you can hold a spacing farther enough from your opponent to which that will not hit you, and in those cases, that's when we can push up and take space, because he has to recover from this move before he can even press something. For instance, I'm going to hold up after pressing forward heavy punch, and you see how long it takes him to be able to take action. It takes him a lot of time. So if he jumps over the fireball and whiffs, then it is our turn immediately afterwards, and then we can do whatever option that we want to. And that's how you want to go into this game. Unfortunately, you do get flustered and you go for a DP, which gets buffered out as crouching heavy punch DP, and then you get punished for it. But either way, I understand where you're coming from, and I hope this helps. With that being said, any questions?